Welcome everyone, we're back in my fish room today. It's been a long time since I shot in here, at least 3 months at this point. I thought I'd be in the new one, but we're closing in on the new year and we're gonna start moving soon. There's enough kind of going on that I wanted to show it. So this tank is full of green water. Lots of blue Silverado Endlers in there, but a little unsightly to see. In here we've got the baby goldfish growing up. Lights are reflecting so you can't see, but there they are, and they're eating duckweed. I'm putting together a whole video on that, so you'll see more at some point. In here, I brought some fish home, some dragon blood mollies or some like red albino mollies, and babies are now in here. Supposed to have moved them to the new house with the new fish room with harder water at the well, but they're doing okay here with the crushed coral, so I'm happy to see that. The guppy grass is growing well, allowing the babies to kind of hide out. And then the big females just kind of hang out in the grass. Over here, I did move some of the Teacup Platies into this pond right here. So what you're going to see is they're all eating on frozen cyclops today. And we're making quite a few of them. I moved like 2 of the fattest females in here too. I'm sneaking up on them so they don't all run away, but you can see them. Oh, see, they know I'm here. They're running away. But you can see there's quite a few of them. I really enjoy this fish. They're over. The rest of them are actually in that very mulm-filled tank with the wild-caught Peru fish. I'll explain why it's so mulmy in a minute. Over here we still have the Santa Claus Tuxedo Guppies. Got that big female right there. They still haven't produced a whole lot. I mean, they are producing, but not a whole lot. So that's the difference. Duckweed is almost gone out of this pond. You can see I've got 3 of these fat chunky monkeys down here. Those are the babies from the 800 gallon. And, you know, they've been digging and digging. There's orangey or orange crush, as my wife calls it. You know, they've eaten a lot of the babies in here, but we're trying to get duckweed free before we move to the new place. So this is one of those steps, and they'll keep getting the little bits of duckweed in the corner. We'll fill it up a little bit more to get it on the rim and be ready to go. Over here, this is the Vienna Guppies, and I've just been kind of doing some experimenting here, letting it really get filled with guppy grass. It's really full, but you can see so many of these tiny little babies. The adults have to stay down low because they can barely make it up to the top here, and serving is a really good fry refuge. You can see there's a smaller female that made it up to the top and a small male over there, but for the most part all the big ones have to go down low, and it's working out really well. You see a lot of snails here. I come by and I collect them, so what I do is I kind of come through here, I'll grab a bunch, kind of just do this, and because I'm feeding really heavy, so that's why I have so many snails, and I'm doing that intentionally. So now I have all these little snails, right? And then I take them over here, and we go into the turtle tank, which I fed everyone, and I was like, I should shoot a video. But all these snails become good calcium sources for the turtles, and the turtles have been doing well. I've got the incubator set up, if you guys have been following on the little YouTube stories. But we've got 4 eggs. Right there, 4 of those, waiting for them to hatch out. So we'll add more little turtle babies back. So that's kind of what's going on there. These guys still have no fry, these blue-eyed Livebearers. I feed them every day, I check. I don't know if they just need a more dense aquarium, if they're just eating them. I think once they get into a pond with all that guppy grass, they would have a better choice or chance. Over here, this is kind of the colony of Kribensis. You saw me release a video on how I bred them. I never pulled any of the fry out, so they end up eating most of them. A few have made it and they're growing up. There's been a couple of batches in here, so there might be some other sizes. I'm only seeing the one right in front of my face. Oh, there's another one right here. But there's a few. You can hear them crunching those snails over here, or I can hear them. They're on the prowl now. Lots of Endlers in here is what's going on. But all this kind of influx waiting to move. These are all Rummy Nose Tetras. I'm going to add them to Murphy's tank before I do the move. This has green water. I keep telling myself, oh, I'm going to turn the light off before I film, and then I'm like, I don't even know if I'm going to film. I already did the quote-unquote last tour, but here I am filming, so now I just have green water, which is good because I want green water at the new place. Up here we got the yellow labs. I've been underfeeding them a bit. I've been feeding them up a little more. I don't really want to make more until I move, so it's kind of this fine line. If I don't feed them enough, they start picking on the plants. If I feed them too much, they make babies, and then if I don't remove the babies or put more Decor in, they eat them, and then I feel bad. So kind of trying to walk the line, if you will. Down here, still got a little bit of duckweed in that tank, but this is basically, I want it to be a lot of mulm and stuff because that's the environment that these wild Loricarids would thrive in. So they're still hanging out down here. Haven't got any eggs or anything, but trying a new strategy of just like letting the mulm build up and seeing if that does anything. You can see there's still that weird like freshwater sponge or whatever it is on the inside of that wood. Still getting babies, not very many, but you can see these little guys right up front here. These are babies born in this tank with these Teacup Platies. So, yep, got to just fed, so it's extra gunky in there. But, when I move, if I move this tank, I'll clean it and all that. I'm just letting the experiment go because it's healthy. But I haven't got any breeding behavior out of these Loricarids or anything. And you can see some more fry back here, actually. And the more I kind of let this go naturally, the more fry make it. So, and it's real easy. This is kind of what you would see if you were in Florida, where Vallisneria comes or grows. Doesn't necessarily come from there, but grows. You'll see this quite often. It'll still keep going, but it doesn't spread nearly as well as if it wasn't covered. And it's easy to fix. So, let's see if I can do it on camera here. But you see all this gunk. It just comes right off. So it's going to cloud the water, but you can see it's a fairly easy fix. Yeah, there's a little bit of blackbeard algae right here at the ends. I'll just cure that with Siamese algae eaters. So mostly just in limbo, waiting to move all kinds of stuff. The artwork, the sound panels, more of the lights we need to move. I could chime in on the Swordtails. Need to sort these when I move, so there's a lot of reds, but the blue ones, the adults in here, are still here, and they're, maybe 25% are blue, and then most are red. So that's nice that, everything is booming population-wise. You can just see hundreds and hundreds of fry in most of the totes where I haven't used goldfish to take out the duckweed, but, as long as I don't cross-contaminate, I'll be duckweed-free. Used to be, if you look back, all of these were covered in duckweed. Now it's just this one, that one, and this tank here. So pretty easy to finish getting rid of. And I'm doing it naturally, so it's goldfish food, which is making it a little easier. But yeah, I'm going to chime in on the 800 gallon because I want to show you guys something with that. So I wanted to show you the 800 gallon. I'm going to be tearing it down in the next... maybe not the next week because it's Christmas, but probably the week after, because we're ready to move. The garage doors are in, so this is, I got to get all the sand out, all the decoration, all the plants, and basically prep. I got to move, the tables and all that kind of stuff goes out the double doors, and we got to get a U-Haul truck and all of that. So, but I found something very interesting to me, and I've learned a ton. So, what I want to show you guys is, you see all the plants in here. So we've got all these Crypt Wendeti bronze, or reds actually. They're just bronze because they're not getting any light. And when I say not any light, I mean not any light. So I turned on one of the 4 Fluval lights on this tank today. The last time I turned it on was, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago for 2 hours while I live streamed. But we've been over 2 months now with no lights on the tank ever being on. Now, these crypts look, in my opinion, amazing. There is zero algae, none at all. They are just, in my opinion, perfect in every way. They've been spreading, they've been doing really well, and it's really making this crypt garden look amazing. And what I want to show you is that it obviously takes so little light. In fact, no light is fine. I mean, there's room light. Like I have a light on the room when I work at my computer, but outside of that, there is no light. Now, could they be more red and stuff like that? Yes. I haven't fertilized. I haven't done anything at all in months. What I also found interesting is the Anubias did really well, which that I would expect, because those you can ship and they can sit in the mail for like 3 weeks and still be alive. But the crinum has also done pretty well. Yeah, there's that one leaf that's not doing so well, but both these crinums, I don't know that are thriving, but they're doing really, really well. And so what I'm thinking is I can probably dial down the light quite a bit in this tank. I mean, I actually think it looks cool with only one light on. You kind of have this dark zone, and then you have this on. It makes me really want to experiment with the lighting, and I am planning to do that with the new space. But I guess you always get caught up in the, I need a really good plant light. I need lots of plant light so that my plants will grow really well. And I know I've said this in the past, but I don't practice it, that we've grown plants for 30, 40 years now, and lighting technology has gotten like 10,000% better. One of our LED lights today is equal to so many of the T12 bulbs that we used to use, right? And so I think we're blasting insane amounts of light and insane amounts of nutrients to get a result that is achievable with less. So I'm actually going to really experiment with less light, less nutrients, and try to, that's going to sound weird, but change fish keeping, or you know, give my own perspective on it, because I've always been a pretty lazy doser. I like what I like when it looks good. You know, there's things that aren't going to thrive. You can see in the back, see if I can get a better shot of it. I mean, 99% of that val is dead. You can see it there, all that brown, but there's a few that are doing okay. And I thought none were going to make it at all, because light hasn't been on in 2 months. That's the craziest part to me. There's no algae, plants are still growing, no fertilizer's gone in. This is the kind of stuff that I really nerd out on, because I had this happen one other time in my fish keeping career. A tank in my bedroom, the light burned out. I don't know, 4 or 6 months. When I put the light back on, the plants were doing amazing. It was this Wassertang. And so I do wonder if we've got it all figured out or not. I obviously think we don't have it all figured out, but that's where it brings me back into here. I'm really thinking about, now that the new fish room, if you haven't watched the More Aquarium Co-op channel, our second channel, you should, because it's got a tour of how we're building it. If you're a member, you've been getting updates every 2 or 3 weeks on the build. But we're now going to have 62 of these totes. Right now we have, let's see, 2, 4, 6, we have 11. We're going from 11 to 62. So we've got a lot of things we can do with it. Yes, we could do lots of guppy grass, but what I actually want to do is kind of clear some of this out. You can kind of see this mess in here. And you can see the crypt that's underneath there. I kind of want to get some beds of cryptocorns going for fry to go downwards, and just have these really lush crypt beds in some of the totes and play with that. Because that means I can reduce the lighting. I've got pretty intense lighting, enough to turn that water green, which we were originally trying to do, so that I could feed Daphnia and do that kind of stuff. So with so many more totes and such a bigger space, I want to be conscious of energy use. And so that's going to be one of my goals. And so you can see here I've got some other tanks with lights out, playing with some stuff, just trying to learn. And that's, for me, really, maybe I'll do that test right now, is I'll turn this light out and we'll see how it goes. These are all, you got crypts. These are the same crypts down here that are in the other tank. These are a little darker, not putting in any ferts, or I haven't put any ferts in a very long time. But I wonder how this tank would change if it got no light for maybe the next month. That's what I'm playing with. And it's not that I want my tanks to be unlit. It's that I want to see, so this is now the amount of light, right? So we've got light coming in from outside the tank. What will that do? How low light are these low light plants? Are they so crazy low that we are putting them on the surface of the sun, just because we now think that, you know, this is kind of considered low to medium in here. One stingray, doesn't look too bright. You know, you've got some crypts doing their thing here. But I honestly wonder, like, would they do even better with lower light? Is that a thing? Is this pogo stealing all the nutrients because it's getting a lot of light and growing? Now, I know that without enough nutrients, something like here, this is starving to death. There's very few fish. There's these two plus a few more babies. Not much food goes in here, so the guppy grass, you can see it's going translucent, starving. Really would love some fertilizer. Maybe that allows the Java fern down there to thrive. So I think there's a lot, I diagnose a lot of stuff on the forum where people have one plant thriving, one plant not doing so well, and I believe that's getting out-competed. So, you know, like all this guppy grass blocking the light, grows really fast, taking away the nutrients for this Bulbitis down here. Now, if I was to remove a lot of the light from this, above this tote, would we be able to get rid of the hair algae that is on the Bulbitis? I think we might be able to. So that's going to be some of my work in the new fish room, setting up different, you know, with so many totes, I can go, okay, this 5 totes, we're trying Crypts. Those 5 totes, we're trying that. These 5 totes, highlight, those low light, all of that, and really try to learn some stuff. And then if it's a successful test, replicate it. If that's successful, pass the knowledge on to you guys. You know, at this point in the career, we've made 1,000 videos and we've covered so many things. And we're still covering things, you know, meds and all that kind of stuff. But what else can we give back to the hobby besides working on some products and doing that? You know, I've been learning more and more about immerse grown plants. If you guys have been watching, this is now probably 5 or 6 months. Never dosed any fertilizer. I don't think I've even added more water, and it's just been growing to the ceiling, if you will, of this thing. So much so that some of those crypts melted. But it was just an air pump and some water out of one of the tubs. And I would say, you know, these plants are really thriving. Yeah, they're getting a little, but look at these. And even the melted Anubias banana petites are coming back. So, you know, learning, that's what I like to do. You've got, yeah, the Starogenia repens is coming back. It had melted pretty bad at one point. So what I learned here, I can then translate to my aquarium hobby. So it's an extension of that. Here's a nice little runner. So this Java fern, right? This is what they do underwater, but you could take this growing immersed, right? You just pull it off like that. And then you attach this to a piece of wood. You now have the start of what they do at a farm. So they would do something like this. They'd put it in rock wool. They would grow it out. And you end up with, do I have any good examples that aren't covered? So let me turn the light back on. But you take this, you plant it in a pot, and you get that, right? This is one of the plants that transitions underwater. You don't lose the leaves and everything like Crypts you do, right? But can we take that and just float it in here and go, all right, become a plant, you know, an aquatic plant. Just be in there and go. So that's what I'm doing. I'm playing around. I'm learning, because what I learn helps you guys. If you guys only tune in for an hour once a month and I can impart some wisdom on you, and it took me months and months and months to learn this, well, then you gained a lot of knowledge in a little bit of time. Ooh, look at this snail. I love red Ramshorn snails. He's just surfing along, making sure my aquarium co-op tubing is clean. Look at that guy. The big ones I try to save just because I like to look at them and they don't become turtle food. But I do have a lot of them, so some got to become turtle food. These guys have really blown up, the Sunset Variatus. Tons of them in here. If I don't feed them enough, this is interesting, if I don't feed them enough, they'll eat on the guppy grass. So you can see all the little pieces floating. So they'll let you know, I want more food, if they're not getting quite enough. So, all right guys, well, that's what's going on in my fish room right now. Everything is kind of in limbo, but you know, we're working on it, and the new fish room is 100 times cooler. It's hard to get motivated and do anything in here knowing that whatever I do today has to move. And so I'm not setting up anything new. I'm not buying any new fish, just making fish and experimenting, because that doesn't cost any money and it's fun. So Thanks for the support, guys, and we'll see you in the next video. Ooh, look at these red cherry shrimp. Munching on the frozen Cyclops, nice and red.